Hello, everyone. This is Minty Joe, and welcome to One Moment with the King. Now, if you have been following the Revealing Your Crown series, this is actually lesson 5, and we have been talking about the crown of courage. So this is the storytelling portion of a story of a situation with people that have actually demonstrated courage. So we are going to get into it right now. I'm going to take you back to the city of Jerusalem. God had appointed Jeremiah, who was a prophet who forewarned Jerusalem about the things that were about to happen. He told them that the Babylonians were going to come in and destroy the city of Jerusalem because of their disobedience and their wicked ways. But they did not want to adhere to Jeremiah. They actually loathed Jeremiah and did not want to hear anything that he had to say. They hated him so much that they actually threw him in what they called the royal court or the royal jail. But that didn't stop Jeremiah from speaking out loud and yelling. And he was telling them, what we need to do is we need to leave Jerusalem. You need to leave Jerusalem. And anything that's going to be in Jerusalem is nothing but war and famine and disease. And the only way to save your life is to surrender to the Babylonian king. Well, when the prince's officials heard him even screaming and speaking out loud in the jail, they were tired and they said, no, we need to kill this man and get rid of him because he is making the soldiers afraid and they are starting to listen to what he's saying. So they went to King Zedekiah, who was a king that honestly I feel was very unstable. And basically, they told him, we need to get rid of him. You need to throw him in that pit. And the pit was actually owned by one of the other kings. So they gathered Jeremiah together and had him thrown into this terrible, terrible well. This pit that was filled with mud and clay. And for sure, they wanted his demise. They wanted him to die. Well, King Zechariah had a servant. His name was Ebed-Melech. And Ebed-Melech was an Ethiopian servant. But he believed in the things that Jeremiah had said. And inside of him, he heard about all of these problems that were going on with Jeremiah. And he could no longer be silent, even though it could cost him his life. He went to the king, and the king said, what is it that you want? And he told him, I don't think that we should do what they are saying to Jeremiah. He is a man of God and he is a man of honor, and we should not be doing these things to him. Please, I will organize someone to come and help me to pull Jeremiah out of this place. It is very cold and there is no food. He will starve and he will die. King Zedekiah looked at him first. And then he said, go, find someone, but take him from that pit and put him back into the royal jail. So Ben-Melech went ahead and he found the men that would help him. And they went down into this place where Jeremiah was. And they called him. And I can only imagine how deep it was that there was an echo. And he said, Jeremiah, 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 we are trying to save you. Save you. Put these clothes underneath your arms so we may pull you out of the pit. And they heard a weak voice. Okay. Oh, praise God. So they indeed took Jeremiah. They heaved and pulled until they got Jeremiah out of that pit. And he was very thankful. And he thanked Ebed-Melech and said, thank you. Thank you for talking to the king. Well, as time went by, the very prophecy that Jeremiah said came into fruition, and Jerusalem was destroyed. But God saved the life of Ebed-Melech because he was obedient and he listened, and no evil came to him. he was spared. This story is an example of courage. Abimelech was not afraid even to go to the king. He was a servant. He was a foreigner, an Ethiopian foreigner, and he was a servant, but he went with courage to save Jeremiah. And Jeremiah, even though he was thrown in jail, did not stop doing what he was called to do by God. That is courage for sure. This is just to remind us that we too need to ask God for courage. We need to be able to speak up. And I know it's hard sometimes, but we remember that God is always with us to help us and to give us strength and to give us holy boldness. This is Minty Joe, and I hope you enjoyed this story, and I will see you in the next one. Remember, don't let anyone take your crown. Arrivederci.